Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Cliff Yates Show. As always, you are in the right place. 5 principles so that we can live unlimited. Hey, and you know that's what I'm all about on this channel, how we can get better every day in every way than we were yesterday. And one of the main reasons that we could do that is because we get rid of limiting beliefs. We live unlimited. It's our mindset's the most important thing. And I'm inspired by Dr. Wayne Dyer for today's podcast episode. I was watching one of his old lectures where he talked about principles to live unlimited by. And Dr. Wayne Dyer was really at the forefront of personal growth, self-improvement. He was a philosopher. He was a therapist. I mean, he had clients. He had patients, and he talked about that in some of his talks. And he really was forward-thinking. He used to talk about the Tao Te Ching and the power of belief and faith. And so today, I studied that so that I could share it with you here on this episode, 5 Principles on How We Can Live Unlimited. But I'm streaming live also here on YouTube for the podcast. But if you're watching and or listening on the replay, hey, leave a comment, like, share, and if you haven't already, subscribe on the YouTube channel. If you're listening on one of the podcast platforms, hey, listen, when you're done listening, at some time, get on over to YouTube and support the YouTube channel. Wayne Dyer, in the lecture, he gave kind of a cute little metaphor, if you will, for us to live unlimited. He talked about squeezing an orange. That was the picture that he was trying to paint. When you squeeze an orange, what do you get out of it? Mango juice? No, of course not. Grape juice? No, of course we all know it's orange juice. We squeeze it, and that's what comes out because that's what's inside. And the same goes for us, right? When we get squeezed, what comes out? Whatever's inside. What if your mom squeezes the orange? What if your dad squeezes the orange? Or that orange gets run over by your car? What comes out of it? The same thing. Doesn't matter who, doesn't matter when, where. Could be noon, maybe midnight. What's going to come out is what's inside. And what he was saying is that comparing that to us, it's the same thing. If we get pressed, if we get squeezed, right? Somebody puts the pressure on us, what comes out? Whatever's inside. And I can think about myself way in the past. If we have anger, frustration, disgruntledness, and we're squeezed, what do you think is going to come out? I can remember what used to come out of me. You know what? I had anger inside. That's what came out. But you know what? You can't give away what you don't have. So if you have and you are full of love, when you get squeezed and they put the pressure on you, that's what's going to come out. You can't give away what you don't have. You want to be filled. You want to be love because that's what's going to come out because that's what's inside of you. All in all, it's about us knowing how much control that we have over what we think. Everything starts with thinking. Wallace Wattles, in his book that he wrote back in the early 1900s, The Science of Getting Rich, he talked about there is a thinking field of energy that is unlimited. It's unlimited. It's a thinking field of energy. And when we think into it, it causes the universe, things, God, to start moving in a way to manifest into its physical reality the images that we implanted on it. If you have a box with 4 sides on it, you can actually mathematically figure out the center of that box. Well, we are the center of divine creation. You are the center of divine creation because it's a formless substance. There is no form to it. It's infinite and it's unlimited. It's basically abundance that it's unlimited. And God said it in the Bible. He wants us to live a life more abundantly. It's all about abundance. You know, as I read these books over and over again, and I'm self-educating myself on these books, I'm reminded of James Allen's book, right? As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. As you think in your heart, so are we. And what he means by as you think in your heart, what he actually means is what you think, married with strong emotion, is what's going to be implanted in your subconscious mind, and you're going to be manifesting in your own physical reality that image that you planted in your subconscious mind with a dominating thought married with strong emotion. As you think in your heart, so are you. And that goes along with another book I have to recommend and keep recommending as I keep reading it. It's not something I read, it's something I read, and it's called A Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. A Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Viktor Frankl was sent to the concentration camps in Germany. Half his family went in one line. He went in the other line. They killed. His family was killed. And he saw while he was in the camps, and he was a psychiatrist. Well, he might have been a psychologist. He was really a proponent of what they call logotherapy, and it's all about what we give meaning to. And he thought to himself while he was in the camps, whoa, whatever these guards can do to me, they can starve me, they can beat me, take away my clothes, freeze me, but what they can't do is change how I think. They have no control over what I think and the meaning that I give to those thoughts. They have no control. I still maintain control over what I think and the meaning that I give to those thoughts. And so he gave meaning to everything that was happening in those camps. He was already saying, as he saw things happening, I'm going to talk about this in a talk after I'm out of here. I'm going to talk about that. What does that mean that happened there that I can use and I can share with other people in the future so I can better serve them? A man's search for meaning. He watched some prisoners, by what they were thinking and the meaning they were giving to what was happening, they lost all hope, all anticipation for any future achievement, and they committed suicide. They threw themselves into the wire. They committed suicide. And he saw other people, they thought different thoughts. They gave different meanings to what was happening to them. They survived. And Viktor Frankl survived to write that book, Man's Search for Meaning. Some of those writings he wrote on little pieces of paper while he was in the prison camps. It's a great book. You've got to read it, and I want you to reread it. These are books that we shouldn't just read. We should be reading over and over again. Reading all these books, I often think about how no one in high school, and I graduated in 1975, no one in high school ever told me about these books or told me to read these books. No guidance counselor, no teacher said, hey, you should read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. You should read The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. How to Win Friends and Influence People. You should read that book by Dale Carnegie. No one ever told me or suggested these books to me. They were never suggested to me. None of my teachers gave me guidance in that regard. Now, I was already doing stand-up comedy when I was in high school. I was performing for my classes. I was performing in the lunchroom. Sometimes I would be performing during the class when I shouldn't be. As they put it, as the teachers put it, as the guidance counselor and as the prisoners, as the principal put it, shut up, sit down, you're being disruptive. Instead of a teacher or a guidance counselor saying, you know what, you should be an entertainer. You want to make people laugh? You want to tell jokes? There's a career for that. You should focus on being a stand-up comedian, maybe an actor or an entertainer. No, they said, shut up, sit down, you're disruptive. Can you think, did you have any teachers that saw the greatness in you and they supported you and they encouraged you? If you ask a group of people that, almost everybody will raise their hand. almost all of us had a teacher that saw greatness in us. They saw potential in us. They encouraged us. They wanted us to become more. They wanted us to be a success. But if you ask the same group, did you have multiple teachers that saw greatness in you and supported you? Almost all hands would go down. And we all have one, but predominantly the teachers weren't there to see the greatness within you and encourage you to give effort to your gifts, to your talents. They weren't there to recognize your talents and encourage you to exploit your talents for your future life. They were there to tell you what to think, memorize so that you could pass exams. They weren't teaching you how to think. That's where the school system fails us. But guess what? Later in life, that's when the real education begins. That's when self-education gets plugged in by us. We take control of our self-education, and that's why we have the keys to our own destiny. I'm so glad you're here. This stuff gets me so excited. It's what I really study all day long. And like another great author and great radio announcer, Mr. Earl Nightingale, he said, "We are what we think about all day long." And he had a famous recording called The Strangest Secret. Bob Proctor, who was in the movie The Secret, he used to listen to The Strangest Secret over and over and over again for 50 years. Over and over again. Repetition, the mother of skill. Bob Proctor said, listen to The Strangest Secret, which is we are what we think about all day long. And what do we have total control over? Our thoughts, our thinking. No one, as Viktor Frankl found out in the concentration camps, no one can control what you think and the meaning that you give to your thoughts. Hey, and now that can be really, really exciting. Hey, if you're just jumping in here, I am live streaming, so if you want to jump in with your positive comments on the chat, do not be bashful. You know what? Fortune favors the bold. That's a principle you can live by, and it will serve you well. We're not a bully. We're bold, but not a bully. We're humble, but not timid. Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret. We are what we think about all day long. Let's talk about those 5 principles that we can live unlimited with. They really will help us live unlimited. And I wrote them down. I took some notes today on those 5 principles. And I might be able to tell some stories of my life and how they're applied to my life. You know, it's funny that I look back now and I think, wow, I was actually incorporating some of these positive mental attitude, these subconscious thoughts that created some wonderful moments in my life, but I did it by accident. It wasn't really on purpose. It wasn't with intention. I almost wish that I had read the books and I was intentionally doing what I did. But as it all turned out, it turned out very well. And it really doesn't matter when. We're going to be led in the right place, in the right way, for the right reasons. A lot of it has to do with our belief, our faith, our belief. I love the metaphor today that I was seeing. And I remember one of my grandkids in the swimming pool with me, right? He didn't know how to swim. And so he had to let go of the side of the pool to get over to the handrail, and it was about 4 feet across. And he would let go, and then he would hang on again. He would let go, and then he would hang on again. And then, at some point, he let go, and then he paddled over, and he made it to the railing. But see, he didn't let go and make it to the railing until he believed that he could. He didn't have any more skill. He didn't have any more talent. He hadn't taken any swimming lessons to let go of the side of the pool and get to the railing. It's only when he believed that he could let go and he made it. Belief. Self-belief. That's the power that we can claim. Wayne Dyer, he had a clock metaphor that he used, and I liked it. And he said, picture a clock behind you, 12 o'clock. That's us. And as the minute hand moves away towards 1, 2, 3, that's us moving away from ourselves. Click, click, click. And then we get down to 6. And that's us. We're at the bottom. We've hit bottom. And then we keep going. We keep going. And gradually, as we get to 8, 9, 10, we start coming back to ourselves. And that's when we're going to be at our highest point. We can never go back. We have to keep moving forward. We can try to go back. It's not going to happen. Just like that clock. It's going to continue clockwise. The clock will continue. It can't go back, and neither can we. We got to keep moving until we come back to ourselves. I thought that was a great metaphor. And let's start and keep moving back to our best selves. We can do that. Wayne Dyer was talking about, he's going to talk about one of the principles of ethics, not rules. And, doing the right thing for the right reason in the right way. And it reminded me of just what happened to me just the other day. I was over here, I got off the island, got in the boat, got to the car, drove to the grocery store after I hit the gym. And I loaded up provisions, got everything I needed in the cart, and I got my bags ready. And, I bagged all my groceries, and I paid, and I had a couple bags left over, and paid for my groceries. And I got out to the car, and then I saw 2 18-packs of eggs in the bottom of my cart. Now, I would have put them in my bag. Did I not pay for those eggs? Did I not see them under the bags? Oh, I had to look at my receipt. Sure enough, I hadn't paid for those eggs. Now, there might have been a time in my life, there might have been in the past, where I would have said, well, I made it out now, so, I'm going. No, I had to go right back in with those eggs, and I had to pay for those eggs. There was no question. There is no way I would create that karma in my life. There was no way that I was going to go back without paying for those eggs and not be able to sleep at night, because I would not have been able to sleep at night. Because guess who saw that I didn't pay for those eggs? There was somebody who saw me, and that was me. I saw that I didn't pay for those eggs, and that's the only person I need to have seen it. I'm the only person, but God also saw that I didn't pay for those eggs. But you know what made God joyful? He saw me go right back in and pay for those eggs. And that made him happy. Little things like that makes God happy. You may not know it. You may not be a believer, but you should be. And if you are a believer, you know those kind of things makes God very happy. Jesus sees all those things. Just putting our grocery cart back in the corral makes him happy. All right, 5 principles that we can live by that can help us live unlimited. The first one that was also talked by Wayne Dyer was quality rather than appearance. Whenever you get upset about what someone says about you, you are basically saying what somebody else thinks about you is more important than what you think about you. Let me apply that to me. When I get upset about what someone says about me, I am saying that what somebody said about me is more important than what I think of me. Quality thinking. Quality over appearance. Don't worry about the appearance and the judgment and the opinions of others of us. Just live out a quality life through our thinking. Let's see, there was another example he gives about approval. Because even he said, and I got to agree, I do too, I like approval. I like an encouraging word. I know how it makes me feel, which is why I like to show up to encourage others. Because I know people do care. We might think, I was talking the other day about compliments. We need to compliment people more. Why? Because it does mean a lot to them. They do care. People do want to hear it. It's not going to be awkward. We don't do it because we think that's going to be awkward to say that, and people don't care. It's not going to be awkward, and people do care. Yes, I like it. I like approval. I want people to like me, but I don't need it. I don't need it. It's not going to affect what I do. I'm not going to be acting based on someone else's judgment or opinion of me. That's their business. My business is trying to live my best life right now in this moment. And if you start living that way, success will chase you. All right, the second one, 2, live on ethics rather than rules. And he gave a couple examples here. He was talking about Rosa Parks, right? Rosa Parks, that time when the rule was you have to go to the back of the bus based on your skin color. And she's, no, not today. We're done. I'm not doing it. I'm sitting here. I have a right to sit here. I'm not going to the back of the bus. She was doing the ethical thing, not what the rules said. And sometimes, if it's unethical, we have to go against the rules. And so we should live on ethics, not on rules. Sometimes the rules are unethical. All right, let's go to number 3. Live life on knowledge. I like that one. Live life on knowledge instead of achievement. Now listen, I'm all about high achiever. I consider myself a high achiever. I have a big drive in me that I want to do more, become more, not necessarily get more. And so that shouldn't be, we should be living more on knowledge, right? And intellect and wisdom. Knowledge really is just collecting information. We're just collecting information. There's a lot of people who have a lot of knowledge, but they don't apply intellect to how that knowledge fits into the bigger picture of the world. And then wisdom, how we can apply that knowledge to our own life and live in harmony with the rest of life. That is true wisdom. You know, there's a lot of people, they're the smartest people in the room, but you know what? They don't achieve too much. No, they don't do too well in life and or business. Why? They have a lot of knowledge, but they don't apply the intellect and the wisdom with their knowledge. They want to wait till everything's perfect before they take any action. They're going to wait. It's not quite right. It's got to be just right. It's got to be perfect. I don't have enough information. Sometimes the smartest people in the room, I don't have them as much common sense as the rest of us. So let's live life on knowledge and not on achievement. Although I like to achieve. But we shouldn't achieve to be happy. We should happily achieve. The way to happiness. There is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. And so we should happily achieve. Don't achieve to get happy. So live life on the knowledge of things and not on achievement. Otherwise, we're putting our happiness at the end to when we get something, to when we get to the completion. That means along the way, the joy is not pre-built in. We want the joy to be in the journey since the journey is 90% of the time that we're involved. So that's how that applies, and it's true. Number 4, thinking of yourself as personal authority, not an authority to dominate over other people. Take personal authority over yourself, personal authority over your actions, your thinking, how you treat other people. Take personal authority. Think how you are the authority over your emotions, how you respond to people. And that way, you know, the people who have the most authority over themselves, they don't want anything to do with dominating over anybody else. They want to work with people, not over people. So think of yourself as a personal authority. 4, 5. Oh, in relation to 4, Shakespeare said, know thyself. Know thyself. The more that you honestly know yourself, the more honestly you will be as a way of life. I like that. The more you honestly know yourself, the more you will honestly live your life. Whatever you put out is how it's going to come back to you. There's scripture. It's in the Bible. I think it's 2 Corinthians 5. Nothing you put out is going to come back empty. What you put out is going to return to you. What you're getting is a direct reflection as to what you're putting out there. If bad things are coming your way, don't ask why. Ask, what am I doing to create this coming back to me that way? As you sow, so shall you reap. It's what we plant is going to grow. And that's what we're going to be our harvest. Number 5, the last one. Serenity instead of acquisition. Serenity instead of acquisition. The more you try to acquire, to get in life, the less serenity you're going to have. And I'm adding, it's what we become that's most important. Now, Jim Rohn said, set a goal to make $1 million, but not for the money. Set a goal to make $1 million for what you will become in achieving it. Because we get paid on the value we bring to the marketplace. And if you want $1 million from the marketplace, you have to bring that value to the marketplace. And money is a good way of keeping score. Now, it has nothing to do with the value that we have to our family and to God. That's already a given. But value to the marketplace, that's measured in money. So money can be a good measurement of how much value that we are bringing to the marketplace. And so I think that can coexist with what Wayne Dyer talked about in serenity instead of acquisition. And he said the more you try to acquire, the more you try to get in life, the less serenity you're going to have. And I say it's okay to set a goal and to have goals for achievement and for a financial return as long as you're doing it as a force to become more. Because when you become more, you expand and you can express, and you're going to have a positive impact on other people close to you. And that's going to be your way of changing the world, one person at a time. Serenity means inner peace. You can stop wherever you are in your journey. You're on a trip going somewhere. You're trying to get somewhere. At any time, you could actually stop and look around and enjoy God's creation. You can have peace, serenity, and joy right in that moment. Not waiting until the end where you're going to, what you're trying to get to. And I think that's definitely a point that I've been trying to make for a long time. And that really is about enjoying the journey. That really goes along with it. So those are the 5 principles so that we can live an unlimited life. I'm so glad you checked in here. You're an important person. There's no doubt about that. You're one of a kind. There is, as Les Robbins would say, there is greatness within you. All right, everybody, if you're watching on the YouTube channel, please subscribe, share, and like. I'd appreciate it. It will support the channel. And then YouTube will show it to more people. And then you're going to play a part with me. You're going to partner with me in having a positive impact on other people, and there's no greater joy. All right, everybody, I will see you in the next episode.